All right, all right. We're back. This is it. Part 4. All right. So, guys, this is the last training for the 10K challenge. Thank you guys so much for all the support, all the love that you've been showing me. And I want to hear the results, guys. I want to hear what you guys are doing, right? So, how are you coming along? Are you taking action? What struggles are you running into? What problems are you having? I am here to help you. So, I want to know what's going on, right? So how can I get you to that $10,000? Ultimately, someone is going to win, right? So someone is going to win that, and I am going to fly them here to Miami to meet me. We're going to go out. We're going to have dinner. I want to help map them out an actual business plan to go back home and crush it. All right. So I couldn't be more excited about this, and we're going to get right into it. All right. Bear with me 1 minute, guys. This one won't be as long either as the rest of them. The other ones were an hour, hour and a half long. This one probably won't be. So let me just get going here. All right. So week number 4, we're selling the deal. All right. So everything that we talked about in the first 3 parts of the challenge up until this point, you should have locked up a contract. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that you should have already, but based on the information there, it is there for you to be able to lock up a contract. That's what I'm getting at. All right. So you got the contract now. What do you do now? All right. It's exciting. You got a contract. You want to sell it. You want to get some money. So first things first, you're going to put together, your marketing flyer, right? So if you don't have one, you can let me know. I can share one with you. You can also Google examples of wholesaler email templates, stuff like that. There's a lot of them out there. And it does matter. I don't want you to get too caught up in, I don't have the perfect marketing flyer or anything else, because at the end of the day, if it's a deal, you will sell it regardless of the flyer. It does help, though, having a great flyer. So let me know if you need any help with that, and I'm more than happy to help you. All right. So number 2, REI Automator. We immediately, as soon as we get a property, all right, we use REI Automator. We draw a circle around the property, like a 1/4 mile radius around it. And then we pull all the cash buyers. All right. And then we go and we look up, I think we we don't skip trace it in the system. We use a site, and I'll let you guys know. I'll put it in the comments, and we pull their info, and then we actually call them. All right, to build more buyers. I'm not saying we're going to sell it to one of them. A lot of the times we find a buyer just off of doing that. But that's the first thing that we usually do. And then we build our flyer out, right? Our marketing template. So you want to make sure that you have a way for new buyers to sign up for your list, meaning that some kind of landing page, squeeze page, some way for them to sign up. And even if it's in your marketing or whatever, you just say, hey, send me your contact info, your email, your phone number, so I can put you on the list if you're interested in seeing more deals like this. All right. So some form or fashion, do that and be building that list. All right. Because actually having deals is a great way to build out the list, right? Because you have something. You're not just saying, hey, I'm a local wholesaler, like I get great deals. You're not showing them anything. You're showing them something now, and it's proof. So they are way more likely to actually give you their info and sign up for the list. All right. So then you're going to obviously start marketing the deal. I'm going to get a little bit later in the training, I'm going to get into where you are going to be marketing the deal, but that would be the next step, right? Get it out there. We don't want to wait, and hang around and then get to almost closing and we don't have a buyer because we waited too long. Especially those of you that are new, I'm sure you'll be really, really excited you get a contract. So I'm sure you won't hesitate to go out there and start marketing for a buyer, but don't wait. Go out there, immediately start looking. All right. And then building your buyers list as well. Okay. Leverage the feedback that you get from your buyers, by the way. All right. So your buyers are going to be giving you feedback as you are marketing the deal, or potential buyers. Listen to what they're saying. And I'm going to get into a lot more in depth on dealing with the buyers and how to talk to them here in a minute. But leverage their feedback. All right. So just always, if they have something negative to say, ask them why. And just keep notes on that property of what the buyers are saying, because that can become very useful later on if you're having trouble selling it. And just understand that you are going to be using every deal to build a bigger and stronger buyers list, because so whoever has the biggest, the best buyers that are willing to pay absolute premiums, that are consistent, that person usually wins. And I'll tell you, because then you can go out in your market and say, hey, I have a super strong buyers list. If you have any issues whatsoever selling your deals, send them to me, or send them to me, because I can actually get more money than you can get for those deals, because I have great buyers, right? So having a network of incredibly strong, consistent buyers is huge in this business, and will take you a very, very long way. All right. Let me get a little bit of water, guys. Okay. Key mistakes newbies make when dealing with buyers. Lack of confidence and conviction. Trust me, a lot of these buyers are very successful individuals, okay? A lot of them have quite a bit of money or connections with a lot of money. A lot of them are very professional. They're educated. They know what's going on. And they can tell if you don't have the confidence and conviction when you're talking to them about your deal or whatever you're talking to them about. They will sniff that out, and they will try to use that to their advantage to obviously get a better deal, get you to overlook something because you don't even really know, you're not familiar with it. They will try this. I'm not saying all of them are bad people or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying at all. But it is literally a dog-eat-dog world out there, guys. And the truth is, this is business. And a lot of people take it very, very serious. And if they see an opening to gain some kind of advantage over you, they will take it. All right. So that's just reality. That's the way it is. Be aware of it. But you need to speak to them when you're talking about anything with a buyer. And I mean, honestly, this in all walks of life, to be real with you, you need to be extremely confident, and you need to speak with conviction, right? You know what you're talking about. You know you have a deal. You know you are bringing value to the table, and you know your worth in the transaction. And sometimes you got to fake a little bit of it until you make it. But you're going to go a lot further doing that versus being very timid and, saying, yeah, I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm just, and you seem desperate. And then they're always going to take advantage of you, unfortunately. Not many of them will see that as like, okay, he's just trying to be honest, or she's trying to be honest with me. Let me see how I can help them out. You will run across those, but honestly, most of them are going to use that to their advantage. So you need to be confident and speak with conviction, guys. All right. Giving up control or letting the buyer intimidate them. And this goes back to, the confidence and conviction. At the end of the day, they will try to intimidate you if they think they can get away with it. And some will test you and see what they can get away with when you first start interacting with them. So be aware of that. And this is your deal. You control this deal. You're going to control how the sale happens. You're going to control everything all the way through. And you need to set that precedence with them right out of the gate, or else they will try to take control. Okay. Believe in everything they say. I see this a lot with newer wholesalers, investors. They're looking for mentors, and some of them are, they think that they're just really nice people and think that everybody will just help them out, or, whatever. And the reality of it is, they will say some stuff just to test you. So be aware of that. That's why it's great that you're watching stuff like this right here, and you're educating yourself on the business, on how the processes work, on the just general terminology, right? So that's going to help you significantly. But do not just believe everything they say. If they go in there and they say to you, hey, you put on here this property needs $20,000 worth of work, it really needs 40. So don't just take that to heart and take them at their word. What a property needs in renovations is very subjective, right? So what I look at and see a property needs, you might look at and see something completely different. That buyer might see something completely different. So always have that in mind. And then, that's how you explain that back to them. And then they're going to be like, okay, wow. So this person knows what he's talking about. And that will actually build you some credibility with the buyers. Another mistake is not negotiating. So, the truth is, and I get it, you're very excited. You got a contract. You can see that money coming down the pipeline. And, let's just say you actually have a really great deal. You get a lot of calls on it. The first person that just says, hey, I'll give you close, maybe it's a couple grand off, few grand off, maybe you got a bigger spread on it. I'll give you this much close. And then they really, really sell it to you. Like, I'm going to close really fast. The money's sitting right here. They go into hard sell mode on why you should sell to them, even if it's for less money than what you're asking. And many people will just do that, right? Because they're so excited to get to that check. It has nothing to do about being greedy or anything like that to squeeze. You want to squeeze all the juice out of the deal, right? But at the same time, you're setting a precedence with that buyer that they can call you. And when they do business with you, they can call and basically pay what they want. And then they're taking that control from you and ultimately taking money out of your own pocket. All right. So giving buyers first look at properties or playing favorites. What I mean by that is it is common that buyers they're going to hard sell you on, hey, I'm buying 15 houses a month. I have cash. I'm going to close everything super fast. I want more deals than you can possibly even give me. I'm a great buyer, so you should let me take a look at your deals before you go out and market them to all the buyers. And that is a classic mistake that I see a lot of newer people make. And you do not want to make that, because what happens is this, right? So you start doing that. And then you neglect your other buyers or stop building your buyers list. And then something happens to that buyer. All right. And now they dropped off and you don't have anyone to sell your deals to now. Right. So you got to keep that in mind. Along with there's a pattern that builds. The longer and more consistent you have one person buying your deals, they progressively try to get the price lower and lower and lower and keep cutting, your fees down. So that's another thing that you really, really want to watch out for, guys. All right. Knowing which buyers to work with. This is definitely more advanced. And it's going to be really helpful when you get experience in this. But, you'll start really being able to screen the buyers better. And just by having a quick conversation with them, know whether or not they will be an easy buyer to work with and how reliable they are. And, if they can actually be consistent and close. Okay, so we'll get more into that here in a little bit. But that is definitely another mistake that I see people make, right? They choose the wrong buyer. If you have two that are willing to pay the same price, knowing which one based on some certain factors that you should go with. Okay. Building a system to manage the closing process with checkpoints. If you're new, and obviously a lot of you won't have CRMs and stuff like that yet, or standard operating procedures, but go ahead and build out a quick checklist. And I'm going to go over a lot of this stuff that you should have on that checklist in this presentation, but build out a little checklist. That way, as soon as you get a deal, bam, 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 I got to do these things, and that should get me a buyer as fast as possible. Okay, where you market the deal. All right. Obviously, again, we're using REI Automator to pull the buyers. So I got that as step one because that's what we do first. So we're going to pull those buyers out of there. We're going to get their contact info and reach out to them directly. All right, that's the first thing that we're going to do. And let me just say this. So you will not, if you have a deal, have to go through all this. But I do suggest when you are new, starting out, that you just do it because that is going to give you a way better chance at building a bigger, better buyers list fast, right? So even though you might go to step one to REI Automator and easily find a buyer, honestly, and that's as far as you would have to take it. But I'm going to give you all these ways that you should be using, just so when you're starting out, you can leverage these ways to build up that list, right? I'm not saying don't sell it right away or go under contract if if you get your price and the buyer's great and everything else, you can do it and then still put the property out there to help build your list. Obviously, if you have a buyer's list, right? If you have a buyer's list, that would be the second way. I know a lot of you won't have a buyer's list yet, but if you have a buyer's list, obviously that would be step two. So meetup groups, and I don't mean, and you can do this. I don't mean going to, like the REI or the real estate investor associations or anything like that. You can do that locally, and you can sell deals that way and network with people. But I'll be very honest with you. I've been to those many times, and most of the biggest players that I actually know in my market don't even associate themselves with the real estate investors associations. And the same in many other markets that I've noticed with very close friends of mine that are big players doing a ton of deals that never go to those things. So I'm not saying you cannot meet good people there in actual buyers, but typically it ends up being more of brand new people that go to those more than anyone else, just so you're aware. So what I'm talking about is meetup.com. Okay, so you can join local. Most markets have some meetup groups in their market. All right, so you search for real estate investing, for wholesaling, join those local meetup groups, and then you can actually send out your property through and email the entire list. So that's what you should do, is go through and email all those lists in those meetup groups. And that is a great way, because typically they're very active. That's a great way to sell the deal and a great way to build your buyers list. And if you want, you can actually, some of them do the physical meetup as well. You could go to some of those, right? That would definitely be better, in my opinion, than going to Real Estate Investors Association. And that right there, guys, by the way, is a great strategy. I've talked about that for the last couple of years. We use it in our business, and it works great. All right. In our market, those groups are highly engaged. Facebook real estate investing groups, another great way. Social media. My next one I'm going to talk about is also related to social media as well. Facebook real estate investing groups. A lot of markets will have actual groups specifically for their market. Some will have, for just the state. Some, and then there's some obviously for the entire country that you can use as well. But I would start at the local level, then go to state level, and then the national level. I mean, you can do this starting out just to, like I said, build your buyers list. But I would start more local and state level with the Facebook real estate investing groups if you have them, and then work your way out. Now, this one is, this strategy, I actually used this a lot when I started, and no one still to this day talks about it. I literally never hear anyone talk about this other than me. And I used it literally when I was starting out, and it worked fantastic for me. And I built a list with several thousand buyers with this strategy, and that's LinkedIn, right? I never paid for LinkedIn. I've always had a free account, and they have real estate investing groups on LinkedIn, guys, that have over 500,000 people. Okay, over 500,000 members in some of these groups. There's plenty of groups that have 20, 50, 100,000 real estate investing and wholesaling groups on there, private money groups. So definitely leverage LinkedIn. The only thing I'll tell you is be careful, because many of those groups have specific sections that you post your deals. You can't just go in there and post just in a normal thread, because they'll kick you out or remove the posts, whatever. So just be cognizant of that. But LinkedIn groups, guys, I'm telling you, is huge. All right. Got to throw it in there. I personally think it's played out, but I know in a lot of markets it still works, and there's a lot of buyers that look on there, and that's Craigslist. So definitely still use Craigslist, especially starting out, building your list out. Use Craigslist, post that property, and that's a great way to get some buyers. And I'm sure you'll get a lot of wholesalers as well. But like we talked about before, when you're building these lists, you want to separate your wholesalers. At least in my opinion, that's what I do. I want to have a list of just wholesalers, just my cash buyers, and just realtors. That's the way that we separate ours out. And then we also have a separate list within our buyers list of all the buyers that have actually bought. All right, so you definitely want to have a list with just your actual buyers that have bought something from you before. So keep that in mind as well, okay? Investor-friendly realtors. As you go out there and if you go to some of these meetups, a lot of them go there. And if you do go to the real estate investor associations, a lot go there. And then there's a lot of them that are going to be in these Facebook and LinkedIn groups. So investor-friendly realtors, it's great to build a list of realtors because they can really, really help you get premium prices for your deals. So just be aware of that and, always be looking for realtors as well as buyers, not focusing on realtors, but building a list of your realtors in your market. And then other wholesalers. So this should really be your last resort, honestly, because typically what's going to happen is now you're splitting the deal. All right. So you're whatever, you're going to sell it for, you're looking at probably 50% of that. You brought the deal, they bring the buyer. So now it's usually a 50-50 split. That's typically fair. So now you're going to lose half of your fee. So if you get to the very end and you're like, I can't find a buyer anywhere, you can go out and find other wholesalers in your market. I mean, it's easy. You could just do we buy houses in your market, and then the majority of all those websites will probably be wholesalers. All right. Moving on. Signing the contract with the buyer and closing the deal. Right? So, all right. You want to make sure that when you get the contract signed with the buyer, that you require they put down a deposit. All right. And ours fluctuates depending on the sales price. But if it's anywhere between $100,000 to like $300,000, we'll do $2,000 non-refundable. All right. So this is not refundable. You put this in escrow and you do not perform and, you don't execute that contract and close, we keep your $2,000. If it's $300,000 to like $700,000, we'll typically move it up to like 4 or 5. And then anything like $1 million and above, we're going to do probably $10,000. All right. So non-refundable. If you want to lock this deal up, you're going to put that, they're not giving it to you. They're putting it in escrow at the title company. All right. So just understand that they're not going to hand you $10,000. And you don't want that anyway. All right. So that goes to the title company or the attorney's office. But make sure they understand that it is non-refundable and it needs to be within 24 hours of you signing that contract with that buyer. You are going to verify that they put that deposit in. And if they didn't put that deposit in, then you're going to let them know that you're pulling the contract and you're going to go sell it to another buyer. You got 24 hours. You're in control, remember. So these are your rules and they have to play by them. Okay. Always take backup offers, by the way. All right. And I mean this sincerely. Always take backup offers because remember, you're going to be building your list out anyway and marketing that, your contract, through these channels so you can help build your list. So always take backup offers. Don't stop, talking to buyers just because you have that property under contract. You'll learn this from experience if I don't tell you now, more than likely. So definitely keep that in mind. And here's another big one. You don't want to be in the situation where the seller comes to closing and the money is not there. Okay. That is, it sucks. All right. I just got to be real with you. It sucks when that happens. Now we're fortunately at the point where we've been doing this a very long time. we have money, so we always have backup. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have to go out getting loans and all that other stuff now. We have backup to where if that happens, we're okay. But there was a time, long time ago, that, we've had that happen to us before. So because of that, all of our buyers, and they know this, and we're very strict on it, within 24 hours of closing, right? Of closing, that money, all of it needs to be there. Okay, so we tell the buyers, just treat the day before closing as the actual day of closing. Get all the money there. And a lot of our buyers now will actually send in all the money early anyway. But when you're dealing with someone new, be very, very hard-nosed on that and let them know, hey, this, just so you know, right out of the gate, like, all the money needs to be there a day before, and put that in your contract or your assignment agreement. So I suggest when you're new that you only work with buyers that have cash, okay? That you don't go out there and deal with the hard money, the private money people. I prefer that you deal with people that have actual cash in the bank, that pull that money out, bam, wired into escrow, and that's it. If you, for whatever reason, want to work with a buyer that doesn't have cash, it's getting, it has a lender or, hard money, anything like that, make sure that you have, when signing that contract, you have either some kind of approval, you know what I mean, some kind of pre-qualification, and actual proof of funds from the lender that they intend to lend this person money to buy this property, and not some BS one that you can type up online and go get like a fake proof of funds, because those sites are out there. I mean, an actual, from a real lender, hand-signed letter saying, we're going to give this person money. All right, don't worry. And then I would even call them and verify that as well. Don't just take the piece of paper at its word. Call the person on there and actually speak to them and feel that out. Okay, so stay in consistent communication with the seller, the buyer, and the title company throughout the closing process to make sure it goes as smooth as possible. Okay, so you are going to, when you're starting out, you're also the transaction coordinator as well. Make sure that you stay in communication with everybody. Everyone knows what's going on. And as soon as anything happens, you immediately address it and jump all over it. Do not let it sit around. Do not let it hang out. If there is any kind of problem, head on immediately, go there, figure it out, and see what you got to do to keep this thing moving forward. Because what'll happen is I see so many dead deals when people are newer, because they don't stay on top of it. They don't communicate right with the seller. They don't communicate with the buyer, the title company. You got to keep everyone in the loop of what's going on, and you are the glue that's holding this whole thing together. So keep that in mind, okay? So any issues, immediately address them. So this is, just a little side note. Make sure that the seller brings the garage door openers, the keys, all that stuff to the house, because you'd be surprised how many people that completely forget this step. Then the buyer closes on the B side of the contract, and then they're like, oh yeah, so where's my keys and everything at? And then you never got them because you were just so excited to get the check. You forgot to actually confirm with the seller. And sometimes the seller will honestly just forget, and then they'll walk out there with still all access to the house. And, you're already at the bank cashing your check, and your buyer's like, where's my keys? And so it creates a whole situation. Put that on your checklist to make sure that you confirm right before closing that the seller will be bringing that stuff, and just remind them, all right, the day of, morning of, whatever. This is a big one. This is a big one right here. If the house, sometimes you will do deals that the tenant's going to stay in place, or, you might have to give the seller a week or two extra after closing because they don't have any money to find another place and move. And then in that scenario, by the way, what you would do is get your buyer to agree to that and do a holdback in escrow. So maybe only half of their money gets released. and then the other half will be released when they turn in the keys and all the access points that they have to the house. Okay, so if it's supposed to be delivered vacant, especially starting out, very, very important. You need to confirm that it is vacant. And we have had this happen to us many, many times over, close to 1,000 or just over 1,000 properties that we've done deals on. We've had this happen to us many, many times. Property's supposed to be vacant. Seller comes to closing and they still have an extra key or something. It's not really vacant, or the tenant isn't out of the property yet like they were supposed to be. So if you have to drive by, if you're not doing this virtually, I suggest if this is a local property to you, that you just drive by and scope that out and make sure that you are delivering to your buyer what you said you were, because A, that can really hurt your credibility. B, you can get in some real deep stuff over that if you're not careful. Okay. And it could really scare you because you're new and you're starting out. So again, just make sure that, it's vacant if it's supposed to be vacant. Another little bonus one here. If you have a little bit of money, I highly suggest that at closing, you go on Craigslist, whatever, hire a videographer to meet you at closing. Ask the seller and make sure it's okay. Usually we give them like a gift card or whatever if they're willing to do it, but try to get a testimonial of that seller at closing. If you try to do that every single time you have a closing, it only will cost you a little bit of money, but building up that credibility is going to help you so much, very significantly as you are growing and, building this into a real company. So if you start that from the very beginning, then you can really build up a lot of testimonials fast. Okay. Then after that, it's the best part. Go cash that check. Go cash that check and, put that money in the bank account and, also be ready for anything to happen through the closing process. Like title issues, all this stuff can happen. That's why you got to stay on top of it. Again, I think this is honestly all you need. Truthfully, for the rest of this. So yeah, guys, that's basically it for, the 10K. That's it, guys. So now go out there, do it. Go out there. If you haven't watched the first 3 parts yet, go back, watch them. Watch this one, watch them a few times. Eventually, I probably will take them down. I'm going to leave them up for a while because I know you guys need time to go out there and actually take action, get some deals, start closing. So go out there, take action. Whoever wins, whoever can come to me and prove that you made $10,000 from this training, I am going to fly you here to Miami and I am going to take you out to dinner. We're going to hang out and I'm going to help build you out an actual business plan for free. All right. I'm going to pay for your flight. I'm going to pay for your hotel. You're going to come out here, hang out with me, for a day. And I'm going to help you actually map a plan out to go execute on. Couldn't be more excited to do that because I love you guys. It means a lot to me. If you haven't yet, guys, make sure you drop me a like. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel and share this with people. Let people know I'm here to help. And I love you guys. I want to see you be successful. We are still doing, by the way, 30% off of REI Automator. You can use code FLIPFAM at reiautomator.com. Those details will be down below. That's the best real estate investing software ever. And guys, I'm just really excited to see who wins this. So go out there, start taking action, do it. All right. Just go out there and do it. I have a huge announcement for you guys coming up, by the way, a very, very big announcement. So be ready for that. But yeah, I love you guys. I want to see you guys be very, very successful in business and in life. And go out there and crush it, guys. All right. Peace.